Welcome back. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has promised to liberate more territory occupied by Russia after troops retreated from the only regional capital captured by Moscow. Well, joining me now from Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, is its former defense minister, Andriy Zagorodnyuk. A very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Apologies if I pronounced your surname rather badly there. Just to reflect on what has happened in Kherson in recent weeks and recent days, this is the third major retreat by Russian forces during this war so far. We'll get onto battlefield strategy in a moment. But first, can you give us an idea of what the civilians in Kherson have been through in the last 8 months of occupation?
Well, all civilians under Russian occupation are going through the same or very similar types of hurdles. So there's absolutely no rule of law in those territories. Lots of people being detained, captured, tortured, even in small cities and villages, which is really we didn't even expect that to be that bad. Of course, the Russians, particularly in the south of Ukraine, they were spreading that sort of statements that those regions are with Russia forever. There's been a lot of politicians from Russia coming to Kherson saying that, okay, just live with this. This is it. This is Russian territory right now, and so on. I just have to remind that in a Red Square in Moscow, Putin himself proclaimed Kherson to be a part of Russia forever, like only 5 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So there's been a massive push to convert those regions to Russia. They staged the so-called referendums there, which obviously had nothing to do with the democratic process, and they essentially very roughly and pushed dictatorship regime in the territories in all areas of human life. So right now, of course, people are returning slowly to the normal life. There's been only a couple of days, so it's too early to say. But obviously, we see a great deal of relief for local population.
You say people are slowly returning to normal life in Kherson. We actually have a team in the city bearing witness, and critical infrastructure was destroyed by Russian forces before they pulled out. So a return to normal life seems some way off. What are the conditions there at the moment, and how unsafe is it still with the situation regarding mines, etc.?
It is unsafe, and that's why we're just saying to our people who left Kherson not to come back yet, because it will be weeks at least, if not more, than to fix the demining process, because indeed they mined lots of areas which we even don't know, because there's been tens of thousands of troops in the Kherson region of Western Bank, which has left. So essentially, they could leave like a massive amount of mines. And there's no utilities in the city, and the city, it's not yet that cold like in the winter, but still it's definitely not warm. So there are like some emergency works are done right now to restore the utilities like water, electricity, gas, etc.
Just a couple of other things I'd like to cover before we end. What is the plan now? Obviously, Ukrainian forces have done phenomenally well, retaking Kherson city, but 20 to 30,000 Russian forces have made a relatively organized retreat. They're now on the eastern side of the Dnipro River, reorganizing, planning their next move. Are you concerned about where they may focus their efforts next?
Of course, and that next move most likely is going to be in the east of Ukraine, like in the so-called Donbas region. That's where they wanted to concentrate back in April, and we didn't allow them by pulling troops out through the number of counteroffensives on the south. So now they will. Most likely, they will concentrate again on the east, and they will try to advance there. So, unfortunately, war is not far from being over, and we're going to see some really hard times in a number of the regions.
Ukrainian forces have had. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to jump in and ask you one more thing. Ukrainian forces have had significant successes in Kyiv, in Kharkiv, now in Kherson. You are on the front foot. Is now not the window of opportunity to take advantage of being in that position of strength and to start talks with Russia?
Well, the problem is that start talk to Russia means start talk to Putin's regime. And Putin's regime is not. First of all, there's Putin, who did all these crimes and did massive breaches of all imaginable laws. So it's very difficult to imagine what sort of a deal agreement is going to be. And frankly speaking, we don't see the chances are very high. And also, right now, we don't see their desire to stop the war, like, at all. I mean, they keep on pushing, they keep on sending the messages like denying Ukrainian identity, denying Ukrainian statehood, and they still keep with the war effort. The only reason they left Kherson is just because they're failing with the war effort. But strategically, they still want to destroy Ukraine, invade Ukraine, and so on. So it's not that they're looks like they're legitimate side for the proper talks. To be honest, at least at this time, while Putin is in power.
You're right. There is a gulf between what Ukraine is calling for, no Russian forces to be on their territory, including Crimea, and for what Putin will find palatable to present to the Russian people in terms of something that can represent success. There is concern that international support could wane if this becomes a protracted war. What is the off-ramp here?
Well, first of all, so far our key allies, and UK included, of course, are very supportive, and they see the progress. We already liberated more than half of the territory which Russians occupied after 24th of February. So they see that there is a progress. They see that Ukrainian army is successful, and they keep on supporting. And we understand this is not like a matter of days or even weeks to liberate the whole country, but we are there. So we're like, there is a certain trend and there's a progress. And of course, the protracted war has threats of diminishing support, but we're working on a diplomatic front to keep on going.
Okay, Andriy Zagorodnyuk, former defense minister to Ukraine, we appreciate your insight and time. Thank you so much.